Yo, 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 yo! What's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman?
How the hell are you?
I'm great.
Awesome, I love it.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Been a nice day out today. It's been a nice day every day that sun's out. When that sun's out in Chicago, there's nothing better.
Sun's out, guns out. I'm going to get guns.
You are.
I joined the gym.
You did. Back at it.
My guns. I got to get I got to get that, what do they call, like when women get the flabby arms? They call them chicken cutlets.
Chicken cutlets?
I got to turn my chicken cutlets into biceps.
And triceps. Hey, everybody out there in the world. Hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. And we're going to smoke, right?
Yeah.
I need to get normal. So why don't we get some normalness going on? And we're going to smoke some Nightmare OG grown by our friend Big Earl. This is a 70-30 indica to sativa. Nightmare OG is an indica dominant hybrid strain created through a potent cross of infamous OG18 with white nightmare strains. This powerhouse bud packs a hard-hitting 28 to 30% THC level into each tiny little nug and relaxing full body effects and will leave you dazed for hours on end. The Nightmare OG high creeps up on you, hitting you a little while after you first toke before launching your mind into a lifted state of cerebral energy.
Sounds great.
Yeah, we've been smoking this for the last couple of nights, so it's great for nighttime. This feeling is very buzzy and will leave you unfocused, which can cause anxiety in some users if not careful. Be careful then. As your mind is catapulted into new dimensions, space, the final frontier. New dimensions of bliss, your body will be dragged down into a numbingly relaxing body high that leaves you couch-locked and immovable for hours on end. Thanks to these hard-hitting nightmare effects, Nightmare OG is often chosen to treat conditions such as AD or ADHD, migraines or headaches, depression, chronic stress, and pain. This bud has a lemony pine flavor with hints of fresh, spicy berries on exhale. The aroma is very similar with a woody citrus overtone. Nightmare OG buds have fluffy, frosty mint green nugs with fat, oof-free orange hairs and tiny white crystal trichomes. Effects: body high, cerebral, energizing, relaxing, and uplifting. ADHD. The symptoms is ADHD, ADD, chronic pain, depression, migraines, and stress. Flavor is berry, lemon, pine, and spicy. Aromas are berry, citrus, herbal, spicy, sweet, and woody. Now, we've been smoking a strain the last couple of nights. I really like it. I think it's great. It's got a good high. Great for just going and being couch locked or going to bed and just chilling after we take that edible. And once that edible kicks in and that high, it's been nice. I like it.
Yeah, that's nice.
To me,
it's clear. You don't have a cloudy mind.
Not at all.
You don't. You're heady high, but you're not. I find it. I don't feel super high, although I am.
Right.
Right.
It's a good high.
I could function on it. I can function pretty well.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It works for me.
Yeah, it does. I really like this strain, not as much as the peanut butter breath like we smoked on the last episode, but I do like this strain a lot. It's great for nighttime, great for chilling, great for relaxing, but it also made me very talkative. When we were playing last night with you, before we went to bed, we were chatty patty till about like 1 in the morning.
Yeah. And the dog just stares at us.
Yeah, like we
and
stop.
then like whacks at our hands to drop our phones. Like, let's go. Stop talking. Stop looking at your phones.
Oh yeah.
Play with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have some exciting news. Our kiddos are all here in Chicago now.
Yeah.
Yes, Paulie and Shoddy, our producer, are back home in Chicago. O-Dog back home in Chicago. It's been 10 years since all of us lived in the same state at one time. Pretty awesome. Super excited about that. So welcome home, Shoddy, our producer, and Paulie.
Isn't that crazy that he's been out of high school? Wait, 10 years? No.
10 years since we've all lived in the same state together.
He graduated from high school 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Are we that old?
Just a little bit.
Dang.
And then we have, hold on, March is birthday heaven here.
Yeah, it is.
In the house of Mr. and Mrs. Weedman. We have how many birthdays in March? We have
4.
one more.
In just our immediate family.
Right.
4 of us.
And then Shoddy.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, she's one of the 4.
One of 4.
So both of our kids, myself, Shouty,
Tutu.
my mom.
Yes.
My niece.
Yes.
My cousin.
Yes. It's a big month.
Yeah.
March is a big birthday month for us.
It's big.
Yes, very big. So But happy birthday to everybody we love, and if everybody's got a birthday in March, happy birthday.
Pisces and Aries.
Yep. Surround my life.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Leos surround your life.
Oh, can't get away from them. Like oil and water, but I apparently like to torture myself.
We kind of mix well, though.
I know we do.
Even though we don't mix, but we mix.
Mr. Weedman's a Leo. I'm an Aries.
They
The
combine
ram and the
together.
lion.
They combine together.
Well,
really
apparently,
nice.
Yeah. Lions and rams.
There
I
you
don't know
go.
about that.
Yeah. So, but actually, too, it's so cool to have everybody home. It's nice.
It's great.
And
it's kind of surreal at this point. It hasn't really sunk in that our kids, they're young. They moved to the city. We're in a little bit more of a suburban setting, still in the Chicago area, but it's,
it's outside Chicago. It's a
Southside.
little bit different than living.
It's a little different.
Living
We're not
in the city.
downtown.
Right.
And they moved downtown. And so it hasn't really settled in. They're like a half hour from us. So it hasn't settled in that I can literally see them whenever.
Just hop in the car and go.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Super cool.
Yeah. When you get your kids back home around you, it's kind of fantastic. So unless they're asking for a lot of shit, then it's not so great.
Ours are pretty independent.
Yeah,
so
it's
we're
pretty
we're
awesome.
fortunate.
We started watching a new show, White Lotus,
Yeah.
on HBO. We watched the first episode. You seem not to remember it, but you were laughing a lot.
We talked about it before recording here right now, just to kind of refresh. And I was like, what is that even? I totally forgot. What was it about? Mr. Weedman had to brief me. But yes, so we're one episode in, and it's just building the characters and building the storyline.
Yeah, and they're staying at this hotel called the White Lotus, and
apparently I need to watch it again.
It was pretty funny. It was good. The first episode was good, so I'm looking forward to watching episode 2. Yuki though is also 100% crazy dog. Dog. She's back. So play. That's all she wants to do is play. Lost time. 14 days of not being able to do anything, and all she wants to do is play. But she's having a lot of fun. She's healthy. She's super great. Been doing all the things we were able to do before she got spayed, so it's awesome. So I'm glad to have her back. So, got anything else?
No.
No? All right, let's get the show started, everybody. Health benefits of cannabis. We've talked a ton about the benefits of cannabis, health-wise, body-wise, whatever. But this is just a little more information. I always research articles like crazy when it comes to cannabis and health, so I thought this one was interesting. A lot of it's just a review, but still just new stuff. Cannabis continues to rise in popularity as more states legalize its use, either as a medical or recreational. Cannabis remains illegal at the federal level, but a number of medical experts and researchers appear to disagree with the decision maintained by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. While more peer-reviewed clinical research is needed, myriad studies support cannabis as a legitimate and safe therapeutic substance when used properly under supervision or just to learn. I don't think you need to be under expert supervision to use cannabis, just to learn to use it properly and get it prescribed by a doctor, or if you're a rec user, just you learn to use it. What's good for your body, your endocannabinoid system. Why do you use it? Yes, we all like to use it socially. It makes us have a lot more fun. That's the benefit. That's what it's been used for a long time. Upon that, medically though, to realize that it has so many health benefits, so it's great for everything. Learn more about as we learn more about medical conditions and what cannabis can do, let's talk about what is cannabis. So we've talked about this a lot of times, but it's always good to review. Cannabis sativa or cannabis is a complex plant that belongs to the Cannabaceae family. It contains about 540 chemical compounds, including more than 100 cannabinoids. The most well-known, as we all know, is THC and CBD. But we are learning more and more about the over 100 cannabinoids like CBN, CBG, CBC, THCV, and all the other deltas that are coming out now. So the term cannabis typically refers to components of cannabis plant that contain significant amounts of THC. Meanwhile, hemp describes components of cannabis plant that contains less than 0.3% THC by dry weight, according to the federal U.S. government. THC is the compound that gives us the reputation of feeling psychoactive, having great body feelings, euphoria, decreased anxiety, increased relaxation. THC and other cannabinoids found in cannabis plants can have psychoactive effects on the human body due to how they interact with the endocannabinoid system, which regulates pain, appetite, and response to stress, says Danielle Piomelli, PhD, Director of Center of Study of Cannabis at the University of California, Irvine. Managing chemotherapy side effects. So this is some of the potential health benefits of cannabis. Managing chemotherapy side effects. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved several prescription drugs featuring synthetic substances similar to THC to help people navigate the uncomfortable side effects often experienced with cancer chemotherapy. Marinol and Syndrose both contain dronabinol, synthetic THC, which is used to treat nausea and vomiting. Meanwhile, Seesmet contains nibaline, another synthetic substance similar to THC, and is also used to address nausea and vomiting, as well as loss of appetite, weight gain, in patients with HIV and AIDS. Managing multiple sclerosis spasticity. Sativex, an oral spray medication available by prescription, contains both THC and CBD and used in 25 countries to help treat muscle stiffness and spasms caused by multiple sclerosis. In Canada specifically, Sativex is used as an adjunctive treatment alongside primary treatment in adult patients who haven't responded well enough to other therapies and show meaningful improvement during the initial trial with the drug. In the U.S., Sativex is still being tested as a treatment for adults with multiple sclerosis spasticity. Addressing chronic pain. Evidence suggests medications that combine THC and CBD can be effective treatments for chronic pain, particularly neuropathic pain caused by nerve damage. Then there's, I'm going to butcher this, nociceptive pain. Nociceptive pain caused by ongoing inflammation and related damage. And nociplastic pain arising from the altered function of pain-related sensory pathways. I didn't know there was so many. Did you?
That went over my head.
At least they gave us the definition of what they meant, which is great. According to a 22 review, a clinical research of inflammatory pharmacology, the research adds that this combination of cannabinoids tends to be more easily tolerated, safer, and less addictive than opioid-based analgesics. Improving sleep quality. In 2018, study in sleep found participants with obstructive sleep apnea, OSA, who took dronabinol, synthetic THC, before bed experienced a reduction in the number of times their breathing was interrupted during sleep. The 10 milligram dose performed better than a 2.5 milligram dose and placebo. That's pretty good.
Interesting.
Participants also experienced stronger sensations of sleepiness, or you could just take CBN, which is a great cannabinoid for sleep. We take it all the time. Another 2014 study in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine also observed an association between dronabinol use and improved sleep metrics in patients with OSA. More potential health benefits of cannabis. Chrissy Berzani, registered pharmacist and clinical director of medical cannabis dispensary Zenleaf in Maryland, says that the most common health and wellness needs she and her team addresses with cannabis include migraines, neurotherapy, nausea and vomiting, appetite loss, inflammation, inflammatory bowel disease, rheumatoid arthritis. She also adds that many medical cannabis patients turn to cannabis after failing to find relief with other more traditional pharmaceuticals. So there is some side effects to cannabis, we all know. Consuming excessive amounts of THC can lead to side effects including pain, anxiety, drowsiness, dry mouth. Cotton mouth is the worst. Impaired motor functions, coordination, as Mrs. Weedman and I devoured all that popcorn a Saturday ago, and we lost some motor functions. My legs felt like they were rubber. Elevated heart rate and dizziness. So there is some side effects if you do consume too much. Adverse side effects are more common in women, according to Dr. Promelli. A small number of inexperienced users may experience vomiting, he adds, which can be treated easily with a hot shower or putting hot chili pepper ointment on the skin. I did not know that. That's hot chili pepper ointment on the skin.
That probably wouldn't be great.
Just don't get in your eye.
Yeah.
Smoking risk.
Did you ever experience that?
Yes, working in the restaurant industry, I one time got some habanero, but it wasn't as bad because I had a little bit on there, but it did burn my eye. I knew one person that was cutting habaneros and a whole bunch of the juice, and he touched and then he rubbed his eyes.
Oh, bad.
I never seen somebody scream so loud.
Oof.
Screaming.
Because you just can't get it. It doesn't.
Screaming. So, yeah.
Did they pour milk in his eyes?
I don't remember what they did. All I know is I just walked out because I was like, the head chef was like, everybody get out of here right now. So I just walked out of the kitchen. The kid was screaming.
The first time I had that kind of thing happen was we still lived in Florida. I think Olivia O-Dog wasn't even born yet. And I had made food and I sliced jalapenos. And then later that afternoon, I went and took a shower, and my hands started burning. And I was like, what is wrong with my hands? So it was something about the heat, the water, the hot water must have activated the oils from the from the jalapeno into my skin. Oh my God.
Damn.
Yeah. And
Ooh.
that's happened, after you cook with it.
Yeah. Yes.
I've experienced it since, but the first time it stood out as,
burning.
ow. I can't imagine getting it in your eyes.
There is some risk when you smoke, of course, anything, but I mean, they still haven't found anybody that has gotten lung disease because of smoking cannabis. So in this article, there says some smoking risk. If you cannot smoke because you have something wrong with your lungs or your body, there's also tinctures and edibles and pills, which I'm going to be talking about in a little bit. So how sourcing can affect cannabis quality. It's crucial to pay attention to the source from which you buy your cannabis to ensure you are consuming safe, well-tested products. Getting cannabis from a regulated state dispensary certainly adds reliability to the composition and quality of the products. Now, if they allowed caregiving in this state or any state, which is there is some, Michigan, if they allow caregivers, I would buy my stuff from caregivers before I would even buy my stuff from a dispensary.
Mm-hmm.
And if they allowed home grow in every state, which they should, I would just grow myself. And there's a lot of people out there fighting for home grow and letting people be able to grow cannabis the way you are able to grow a vegetable garden or a fruit garden. You should just be able to grow your own medicine. Buying products online from a retail, food stores, and otherwise doesn't provide the same level of quality control because, like we've talked about many times, you don't know if it's getting tested in a lab. In doing so, a person risks purchasing a product containing potentially harmful undisclosed ingredients or substances such as butane, propane, or brodifacoum. I never heard of that before. National cannabis providers across the country, they give an example of the level of quality and transparency a person should look for when purchasing any cannabis product. Seed-to-sale operations are specifically structured to maintain clarity, consistency, and quality across the states that are operating recreational or medical. During the visit to Jersey, Forbes Health learned that Verano and other companies clones its existing cannabis plant rather than growing them from new seeds each time to maintain consistency across product made from the plants. You don't know. All products are then chemically tested by a third party. In most states, yes, it's the rules and regulations. It has to be tested by third party or state accredited laboratory to confirm levels of THC, CBD, and other cannabinoids in the products, as well as disclose in presence to any heavy metals, pesticides, and molds. Here's the thing about the heavy metals, pesticides, and molds. Some states allow a certain amount, which if you were able to home grow or if you got it from a trusted caregiver, you know there's no bad pesticides going in if you know that person, you know that grower, or you're growing it yourself. Yes, they might have to use some pesticide control, but most growers I know are using stuff that's not going to harm them or whoever they're selling their smoking stuff to. So, so just know that look at the levels that your state allows. That's even in our food too. They allow certain amount of bugs in produce. They allow a certain amount of pesticides to be used. They allow
because it's organic.
What's organic?
Organic foods. I don't even know what
I wasn't talking. Yeah, you're high.
Well, no, but bugs in food, like in produce and stuff.
But they allow, but not organic though. Just in regular grown,
general.
Right? Regular grown. They do allow certain amount of bugs. They allow a certain amount of pesticides. They allow a certain amount of chemicals in our food. Now, if you go overseas, half the stuff that we allow in this country, in other countries, that they won't even import our food because of these chemicals that are in there. In some countries, like probably say 90% of what we allow are not allowed in most countries around the world, and we get toxic poisons in our body. I mean, it's gross. So even our cannabis, we have to make sure is tested properly and make sure that no levels of anything should be allowed that's harmful to our body. Because if you're smoking cannabis every day, you're putting that harmful chemical in your body. So, just look for cannabis farming and product manufacturing, even though there's no federal guidelines or structure. Just make sure you're reading the regulations from your state right now, and make sure to look for the best practices in your state, and also fight for your state to make sure they're ensuring best practices for your health, because this is your medicine that you're taking in your body. So it is International Women's Day today, right? And what not better to talk about than Cannamoms?
Yeah. So, Cannamoms are the key to global cannabis legalization, do you think? Why moms are using cannabis may be the tipping point for worldwide cannabis legalization. Cannabis has long been stigmatized as a drug that's dangerous, destructive, and meant only for lazy and unmotivated people. However, the legalization of cannabis has given rise to a new generation of parents who use it to help with the challenges of parenthood. Dubbed as Cannamoms, these parents are the subject of a budding movement that continues to gain traction across the United States. Cannamoms are mothers who are fighting for the right to use cannabis to help parent, to become better caregivers, and to fight against the stigma of being cannabis users. As more and more states legalize cannabis and social attitudes around the drug continue to shift, the stories of Cannamoms offer a new perspective on the benefits of cannabis and the role it can play in parenting. In this article, we explore the stories of these mothers and the challenges they face and how cannabis has helped them become better parents. The origin of the origin story of Cannamoms is rooted in the history of medical cannabis use. Mothers advocating for the use of medicinal marijuana for their children with disabilities brought the idea of cannabis as a medicine to the mainstream. These mothers saw the benefits of the plant and soon began to use it themselves. What started as a grassroots movement is now a national conversation, with Cannamoms advocating for the legalization of cannabis for all adults. Cannamoms attest to the benefits of cannabis when it comes to parenting. They use it to become more emotionally available to their kids, to tune in rather than tune out. Danielle Simone Brand, a Cannamom and author of the book Weedman, states that cannabis has given me back sleep. It is truly a wellness tool, dose dependent, product dependent, not at all just a one size fits all kind of thing. But with the cannabis literacy, with some education, there are all kinds of ways that moms can do this. Cannamoms like Brand aren't using cannabis to escape their responsibilities, but to improve their ability to manage their daily lives and be better parents. Parenting is a challenging task when it comes one that comes with its own set of struggles. Dealing with sleepless nights, temper tantrums, and the stress of raising a family can take a toll on one's mental health. Cannamoms have found that cannabis helps them deal with these challenges by reducing stress and anxiety. It provides a calming effect, allowing them to tackle difficult situations in a more relaxed state. Cannamom Jagoda notes that once my family started seeing how relaxed I was, how more present I was, how much happier I was, how I was able to maneuver my day, they stopped coming after me for what I was doing. Cannabis isn't a substitute for dealing with the challenges of being a parent. Instead, it's a means of reducing stress and dealing with the overwhelming situations that come with raising a family. Cannamoms are just like any other parents. They want to do what's best for their children, and cannabis helps them achieve that goal. The stigma surrounding cannabis use is still very much alive, and it's important to address it, particularly when it comes to the impact on children. Kids need to see good examples of cannabis smokers since they model adults. Current education on drugs makes it taboo, which means kids learn by themselves. Therefore, good role models in creating a distinction between adult activity and child activity will help cement drug education in future generations. Cannamoms are breaking down the stereotype of the lazy, unproductive stoner and showing their children that responsible cannabis use is not only safe, but also beneficial. While Cannamoms may be paving the way for a new era of cannabis acceptance and legalization, it is not without its challenges. The stigma surrounding cannabis use, particularly for parents, is still prevalent. Cannamoms face criticism from those who view their use as an irresponsible choice that can negatively affect their children. Despite these challenges, Cannamoms continue to fight for their right to use cannabis for themselves and their children. By speaking out and sharing their stories, they are helping to shift the cultural narrative around cannabis use and parenting. They're also paving the way for future generations who may grow up in a world where cannabis use is fully accepted and normalized. In the end, The Cannamom movement is not just about cannabis, but about creating a society where parents have the tools they need to be the best they can be. Cannabis may be one of those tools, but it is not the only one. By opening up a dialogue and creating a space for parents to share their experiences, Cannamoms are contributing to a larger conversation about what it means to be a good parent and what resources and support parents need to thrive. The Cannamom movement is about empowering parents to make informed choices about their health and well being, and about creating a culture where all parents, regardless of their choice to use cannabis or not, are valued and supported. It's about fighting for the right to make informed choices about our health and well being and breaking down the stigma and shame that has long been associated with cannabis use. By sharing their stories and fighting for their rights, Canna Moms are creating a more inclusive and accepting society, one where parents can feel empowered to be their best selves and provide the best possible care for their children. The Canna Mom movement is a reminder that in the end, we are all just parents trying to do our best, and that we all deserve the support and resources we need to succeed.
Cannamoms unite.
Yay.
Happy International Women's Day to all you Cannamoms out there. Everything you need to know about THC pills and capsules. We don't talk much about capsules and pills and stuff. The first time I tried a cannabis capsule, my niece gave me like a bag full of them. And they were filled with coconut oil and THC. And they were good. They were probably like 5 milligrams each, maybe 2 milligrams each. And I went to, when I worked for the brewery, I bought the whole bag. We went on a road trip, a bunch of us, and I bought the bag with us, and everybody loved them. So that was my first experience with a capsule. And this was probably 2013, 2014. So kind of fun. So you can consider THC capsules as a good alternative to smoking weed. Still, before you decide on the consumption method, is it worth considering all the risk and disadvantages? THC tablets and capsules are an excellent alternative to smoking. Like we talked about, if you have something issues that you're not allowed to smoke, but THC does your body good, as an alternative. They do not burn the throat and do not cause coughing. THC pills act like edibles, providing the same potent high. But what is the advantage of THC and CBD tablets? Cannabis pills are a product that is easy to dose. Capsules differ from each other in the number of cannabinoids they contain. Today's cannabis industry can provide the customer with more than just THC and CBD to choose from. It's an opportunity to try different cannabinoids and choose the one that suits you best. The principal action of THC tablets and capsules is quite simple. Once the product enters your digestive system, the capsule shell breaks down. Cannabinoids enter the body through the blood and then metabolize in the liver. Since the process takes time, do not rush to take many pills at once. Usually worth waiting about an hour, sometimes 90 minutes, depending on your metabolism and your body. For the capsules to take effect, it all depends on the characteristics of your body. For example, your age, your metabolism, whether you're taking other pills. Types of capsules. Capsules types are consistently being improved upon. So there's a lot of them out there. Sometimes regarding more information, do your research on these products. There's ground buds. Crushed cannabis flower can be consumed in capsule, and they have undergone a decarboxylation process. We've talked about decarboxylation in the past. The cannabis must be exposed to heat, where the cannabis acid, CBDA, and THC have become the familiar THC and CBD. Without carboxylation, it makes no sense to use cannabis in capsules because it's not activated. Distillate. THC distillate is a thick and
Viscous.
Thank you. Viscous liquid. Somewhat reminiscent of honey in consistency. The distillate is necessarily 80 to 90% single cannabinoid, often either THC or CBD. You can be sure of the quality of distillate when you buy THC oil capsules when you get 85% or more THC content. Crystalline. THC capsules may contain crystalline, which is a substance such as salt or sugar. They are pure powdered cannabinoids. You can find different types of crystalline pills, but often the tablets contain only THCA or CBDA, non-activated cannabinoid acids. Thus, patients can consume the weed safely. There is a lot of benefits with just THCA and CBDA. They're finding, we've read it on prior episodes. So you won't get the psychoactive effect at all. CBD to THC ratio. To achieve a certain effect, the manufacturer can give you different ratios. a 1-to-1, a 3-to-1, a 20-to-1 are some of the popular in the cannabis market. Broad spectrum capsules are mostly CBD products. These types contain CBD and other components of the cannabis plant except for THC. These tablets contain almost all the molecules of the original plant. Then you have full spectrum. Full spectrum products include all terpenes and cannabinoids from the source plant. That's what you want. If all these I just read, you want full spectrum. This type is like a broad spectrum and contains small amounts of THC. Typically, full spectrum capsules are ground, decarboxylated weed, or an oil base. You want full spectrum because you're getting the terpenes in there. Distillate, they pull everything out, and all you're getting is either CBD or THC. You're not getting all the other benefits and any other cannabinoid that could possibly in there, and all the terps. That's where a lot of the benefits are. We've read about what those terpenes do many a times. Full spectrum. And you could also make your own cannabis capsules. You can buy them readily, of course, but here's how you can do it. Grind cannabis and spread it on a baking sheet lined with baking paper. I don't grind mine. I keep it whole when I decarb it. It is important to properly spread the cannabis over the entire surface so it heats up evenly. Yes. Preheat the oven. This says here 200 degrees. I've done 230 to 240 Fahrenheit before placing the baking sheet in the oven. Warm up the cannabis for 30 minutes. I've done up to 40. 40 will fuck you up. Add the cannabis to a pot of simmering oil. Choose coconut or olive oil. Boil for about an hour. Cool the mixture using a pipette. Right? Am I saying that right? Pipette.
Yeah.
Yeah, pipette. Fill the gelatin shells with the homemade mixture. Alternatively, you can... Pipette. Oh, one of those...
Like you're piping
yes.
out.
Alternatively, you could just buy casings and weed oil tinctures, too, if you want to buy just straight tinctures from the dispensary, too. Great effects. THC capsules do not start working immediately. The expectation is worse since it's the pill, and edibles are more potent than smoking. The average duration of the buzz is 5 to 10 hours. That's true. Dosage. An accurate grammage of each capsule allows you to calculate the correct dose. Convenience. Most cannabis users will be able to avoid drawing much attention to themselves. Health. Many users may not be able to smoke for personal reasons. After all, it also has a strong smell. It's harsh to smoke on some people's lungs, so the pill and the THC oil in the capsules, I wouldn't say better, but it's a different alternative for somebody who needs to take it that way. Medical properties. Despite the strong mental impact, THC capsules also used in medicine. These effects have positive effects on the central nervous system. For the most part, THC pills can reduce or eliminate the pain of different types of muscle spasms. On the other hand, constant weed consumption will greatly affect your body overall with your endocannabinoid system. Moreover, patients reported the following positive cannabis capsule effects: mood improvement, reduced social anxiety, pain relief, treatment of nausea and vomiting, increased appetite, relaxation, sleep stabilization. So, how to consume: start low and go slow, 5 to 10 milligrams. Start with that, see how it goes. I would even start with 5 if you're a newbie. Give yourself about an hour. Don't pop 2 or 3 more in thinking these aren't going to work. Then you're going to be crying to your mom, your canna mom. So consider capsules as an alternative. So good stuff. Great article. This has been a debate, and I posted this, and it's all over Reddit. Weed etiquette. Now, there's weed etiquette, but then there's weed etiquette at concerts. Now, this article was good. I'm going to let you take over here, Mrs. Weedman, because we've been at concerts. We went to the Pearl Jam concert, and you were pregnant with O-Dog, and there were people smoking weed, and we didn't say anything. Well, Bigfoot and I were too. So, but this is a good one. So go ahead. Tell us about it, Ms. Weedman.
Yep. This is a heated debate that erupted on Reddit over weed etiquette at concerts. So if you're not familiar, Reddit is a board, like a social... It's not social media. It's like social news, and it's moderated by its own users and by upvotes. And, you know, it's kind of like someone posts a question or posts a brief story, and then it's just everybody commenting on that. And it's a different type of... It's an interesting format, and it gets going on some really big topics, and this one in particular just took off. It's been all over like internet news this week. So People view the responsibilities of smokers at concerts very differently, according to a Reddit thread. A Reddit post in the popular subreddit "Am I the Asshole?" It's also AITA, I think is the acronym. It's like r/AITA. So within that community, uh, this post began to go viral after it ignited a fierce debate. Should concert goers at a clearly stoner friendly, think like Grateful Dead, concert refrain from smoking if a pregnant woman is in the crowd? Or should the pregnant woman not be there in the first place if secondhand smoke is inevitable? Boom. Big question,
Big
right?
question, yeah.
The responses and the opinions about acceptable behavior may surprise you. So, quote, yesterday I went out to see a concert. This comes from Reddit poster River255, whatever. And this person posted on Sunday and said, the band I was seeing has a very heavy drug scene associated with it. I was in an assigned seat section and made small talk with a couple next to me while waiting. About 10 minutes into the first set, I lit up a joint. And about 5 minutes after, the husband complains to me about his wife being pregnant. I told them both, it's a show. You came here. You can choose to leave. He tried to cause a scene, but nothing happened since I just ignored them and danced. He continues, I told my roommates this earlier today, and they said I was being an asshole for smoking next to the pregnant lady. So, here we go, back to that subreddit. Am I the asshole here, right? The Redditor asked. Well, She Knows, another person, reported about this Redditor's brazen admission to smoking near a pregnant woman. Quote, with no regard for her health or consent. After all, the Surgeon General advises against cannabis use among mothers. Plus, they have to worry about the toxicology screenings. Most mothers in the thread agreed and appeared stunned to even be presented with such a loaded question. However, even some pregnant women in the subreddit took the side of the Redditor who wrote the original post, saying that the mother should have just not gone to the concert, right? Well, then chaos ensues on Reddit. The users' responses were quite different, highlighting how differently people view our responsibilities as smokers. So, someone says, yeah, you are the asshole. This was coming from Wayward Princess 1025. She replied, gaining over 35,000 upvotes, so likes, essentially, at the time of writing. So, she writes, you shouldn't be smoking in your seat like that. Double YTA, yes, you're the asshole, for doing it next to her, a pregnant woman. However, if I were her, I would have just left or called security to move you. Her and her baby's health is more important than the concert. So that's a whole nother loaded statement, right? Others suggested simply walking away from the woman first before lighting up, so there's no issue. Someone goes on to say, I smoke weed and cigarettes, and honestly, I don't care what the rules are. It's about consent. This was coming from Temporary Tie 233. That person went on to say, secondhand smoke is harmful and noxious. The decent thing to do is walk away from everyone when you're smoking anything. People who choose to expose themselves can follow. However, other posters took the side of, again, back to the original poster. If I'm going to be downvoted, but I'm sorry, my eyeballs, I have my eyes dilated because I went to the eye doctor today. A little struggle here. I'm going to be downvoted, but whatever. Sama Mama, or Sema Mama, who is pregnant, replied, as a pregnant woman, I know better than to go to a concert and expect people not to be blazing up on stuff. There hasn't been a concert I've been to where there isn't weed, even if it's shitty music, she said. She made the choice to go there. She could have moved somewhere else if she didn't like it. But where do you go at a concert that doesn't have pot, or worse? You were asked, you refused. That's the end of it. In other words, is it okay for a pregnant woman to attend a concert? Ugh. There needs to be like a smoke-free zone or something. Others appeared to agree with this Sema Mama, saying, you're not the asshole. I'm assuming it's like a Fish, Grateful Dead sort of a band. It's basically a guarantee people there will be smoking all around the venue. And if she was concerned about smoke, she just should not have gone to that sort of show. Um, Others took a neutral stance and suggested consuming edibles or vaping in the parking lot before. Well, someone who wants to smoke a joint and be at a show, they're not going to take edibles and vape. They want to smoke the joint at the show. I mean, it is debatable, right?
Very
who's right, who's wrong?
debatable.
I don't think anyone's right or wrong. It's just the honest situation is that just about every concert you go to, every live show, unless you're at the opera or the symphony, if you're at a music event,
There's weed
there's a
smoke.
very high probability that someone around you is going to be smoking weed or a
100%.
cigarette,
Right.
right? And you're putting yourself in that situation, whether you agree with it or not. It's just kind of an understanding. I don't know, kind of a hard thing to avoid.
It is very hard to talk about that subject because who
I don't think there's one person is right or wrong.
no, not at all. I mean, I don't think either one of them are right or wrong, but me as being a cannabis consumer, especially when I go to a show, if I see somebody who's pregnant, I'm just going to walk away. You know, just maybe if they want
If you are in the state of mind where you recognize the person near
Right.
you as pregnant,
Right.
Yeah, you're going to think
Right.
twice, right? You're not going
Yes.
to do it. But we've had children, so
Right.
if you were 25, would you see the pregnant person and
probably
be like,
not.
no, you'd
They're
probably
just
be
gonna
like,
light
I'm
it
at a
up.
concert.
Right. Normally though, I
You'd
mean,
probably smoke and then be like, let me rub your belly.
if I'm at a
That's
concert,
cute.
yeah.
You've got a baby.
If I'm at a concert and I'm smoking and people around me just say, "Hey, no, man, I'm at a concert," especially an outdoor concert. I'm blowing clouds all over the place.
Yeah, I can be an obnoxious smoker when I'm at a concert because I'm like so into the moment.
Right, you're just blowing it.
And
Yeah,
you just blow it like, oh,
Right.
everybody smell my smoke. It's weed. Doesn't it smell so good?
It does.
So I'm probably the asshole.
So some interesting news. Hawaii Senate approves cannabis legalization and psychedelic research bills, but also so did Delaware approve cannabis legalization also. So we're going to see some awesome stuff there, which is going to be amazing. Super stoked about that. The disappointment, Oklahoma rejected cannabis. Now, I posted something about them not passing it, and some people from Oklahoma reached out just saying, hey, it's so screwed up here. They're not ready for recreational yet. Between all the illegal grows and
They
you
have
know,
an
the
overabundance
of everything,
of licensing and yeah.
licenses, dispensaries, licenses, growers. So and they still don't have their shit dialed in with med. And some of the people are saying that why would we go to rec when we can't even handle med right now? I understand that. But you could have held off on at least like writing the laws for about a year until you fixed med. But at least voters, man, you should have passed it. It wasn't going to happen right away that it was rec, you know? So I don't know. I just think it's a disappointment. Hopefully in the next one they can get it. Now they got to get all those signatures again and get it on the ballot. So it probably won't happen for another year or two. So Iowa, though, is behind to get cannabis legalized. So, but there's been some corruption going on. Corruption. So, but they're trying to legalize the sales of dried cannabis, and it's a push for recreational. We'll see. And then the Iowa House members announced legalization last week to legalize cannabis use and expand the state's current medical cannabis program. Nice. Kansas Senate holds medical cannabis hearings as activists grow frustrated with waiting. I would too. Alaska scrubbing hundreds of cannabis convictions from court database. That's awesome. California faces sluggish legal cannabis sales. Well, I'm going to give you my opinion. 500,000 people have moved out of California in the last, 2 years, 3 years? 500,000, first and foremost. Other states around you have opened up. So every state surrounding you now has cannabis legalization. Rec 2. Your taxes on growers and dispensaries are fucking outrageous to now that you are giving them back their own tax dollars and giving them grants. We're looked at one time as probably the state to look at, but now because you're your taxes are. I mean, California did 5.3 billion in legal cannabis sales in 2022. That's a lot of fucking money, and that's a lot of tax dollars you're getting. So I would just lower your tax dollars to 15% across the board for growers, cultivators, dispensaries, everything, and watch people now stop going to the traditional market, or maybe not. But you could fix the problem pretty easy here and just do a straight flat tax across the board for everybody and fix a lot of the people not making money. A lot of those people are making more money on the traditional market selling their cannabis than making it on the recreational market, you know? So fix your shit, California. You grow some of the best weed in the world. Michigan cannabis sales avoided collapse over unpaid metric fees. Metric is based out of Florida. It holds a contract within the whole state, and it's a seed-to-sale tracking system. And a lot of states all use Metric or BioTrack, or there's a bunch of different companies. But there was supposed to be a $40 monthly fee that no one knew about, and almost everybody got 85% of the state almost got shut down, and they got it just in time. So that would fuck some shit up for a few days. Washington bill to allow cannabis home cultivation stalls again. Man, oh man, oh man. This is like over a decade after the voters' legalization. I just don't get it. Every state should be allowed home grow. Should be able to grow their own medicine. Free the fucking plant. South Dakota Senate bill addresses cannabis for PTSD treatment. That's great. New York will double numbers of cannabis licenses to 300 from 150. Man, I've been talking about this, about how much of the bodegas are selling, and they can't control this right now. It's like out of control how many bodegas. I mean, what I say, $8 million in cannabis was taken last month from the bodegas, and they still just can't. It just still keeps on coming in, and it's crazy because they're buying all these edibles from other states, and there's like cannabis companies that aren't even in the state of New York, and you see their stuff being sold at bodega.
Oh, jeez.
Crazy. Wyoming cannabis ballot initiative failed after falling short of the county's requirements. Terrible. Terrible, Wyoming. Colorado's first licensed cannabis consumption bus rolled out last week. Pretty cool. It's awesome. To and from the airport, you can just burn joints
Fun.
before you get on the plane.
That's cool.
Yeah. Montana, their cannabis program has done very well with their tax dollars coming in to where the state is very happy. $13 million available to sufficiently fund their conservation program. That's pretty awesome. It's great. It's a good use. We always hear how cannabis can help cancer. Some new research?
Yep.
Tell about it, Mrs. Weedman.
Yep. Well, can cannabis help treat cancer? Researchers are getting closer to an answer. It sounds like the stuff of pipe dreams, but for the past 2 decades, a handful of scientists around the world have been investigating the tumor-fighting properties of cannabis, or more specifically, the potential tumor-fighting properties of different cannabinoids, distinct compounds found in the cannabis plant. Legal restrictions in the United States and elsewhere have historically stalled cannabis research, though those roadblocks have started to crack in recent decades. Israel, which has a much more open and robust history of medical cannabis research, has also seen advancements in this area. All of this, including research done in a few other countries, points to a promising future for cannabinoids and cancer treatment. Babak Baban, an immunologist at the University of Augusta's Dental College of Georgia, has spent years studying the potential therapeutic applications of the cannabinoid CBD, also called cannabidiol. And as an immunologist, I am naturally interested in any compound that can impact the immune system, health, and diseases. Baban tells Inverse, noting that cannabis has been used medicinally for thousands of years. However, the mechanisms responsible for the effects are not yet known. Additionally, he says, there are many diseases for which CBD could be an effective treatment, so further study of the compound is warranted. As early as 2737 BC, Emperor Shen Neng of China was prescribing marijuana tea to treat gout, rheumatism, and malaria. From there, the plant was used throughout Asia and spread to the Middle East and India. By the late 18th century, medicinal medical professionals were reporting the therapeutic properties of CBD in American medical journals, though the actual term cannabidiol, or CBD, wouldn't be established until the 20th century. Hemp was a popular crop. While hemp contains meager amounts of THC, it's relatively rich in CBD. Doctors recommended using hemp seeds and roots to treat inflamed skin. This may have been tapping into the anti inflammatory properties of CBD. According to a historical review published in the Journal of Clinical Neuroscience, a doctor with the British East India Company, William O'Shaughnessy, popularized cannabis as a treatment for rheumatism pain, as well as a tonic against nausea caused by rabies, tetanus, and cholera. In 1909, the United States government created the Food and Drug Administration, and with it began more heavily scrutinizing medications, and by 1937, 23 states had outlawed weed. Fast forward to 1996, and California legalized the medical use of cannabis despite its federal illegality. Other states followed suit, opening up research possibilities that had been closed for decades. Researchers are still trying to precisely determine the mechanism by which different cannabinoids could inhibit tumor growth or otherwise aid cancer treatments, but the endocannabinoid system likely plays a role. We're back talking about that again. The endocannabinoid system, as you know, is a network of receptors all mammals have that bind with endocannabinoids and cannabinoids, like molecules that are naturally produced from the body or cannabinoids that come from cannabis. The endocannabinoid system helps regulate many bodily processes, including inflammatory responses and pain control. Cannabinoids such as CBD modulate critical cellular pathways through the endocannabinoid system, a widespread biological system that influences each and every cell in your body. That is why these molecules can influence different aspects of cancer. Mary says, the cannabis plant possesses more than 160 active cannabinoids, of which CBD is only one. In one of our studies investigating leukemia, CBD is one component of a combination of 3 molecules working together to exert anti-tumor effects. So can CBD help treat cancer? Well, a number of studies over the past several years suggest that CBD may inhibit cancer growth. For example, Babon and his colleagues tested the effects of CBD in mice with glioblastoma, an advanced form of glioma brain cancer, and mice with melanoma. In both cases, the researchers found that the tumors were 40 to 60% reduced after CBD treatments compared to controls. That's huge. In addition to reducing tumor progression, Babon says, with the CBD appeared to normalize other pathologic conditions, like improving immune responses. For example, some cancers protect themselves from being attacked by causing the immune system to stimulate something called immune checkpoint targets. Under normal circumstances, these proteins stop the immune system from overreacting to a foreign invader. The overreaction could damage healthy cells and tissue, but they also stop the immune system from attacking the cancer cells too. Babon's work suggests that CBD might block certain immune checkpoints from being stimulated by cancer cells, thus enabling the immune system to better attack cancer cells. That's mind-blowing. CBD isn't the only cannabinoid to show cancer-fighting promise. In 2014, study published in the journal Molecular Cancer Therapy, it was found that using CBD and THC together against glioma cell lines in vitro allowed lower concentrations of both cannabinoids to be used to effectively kill glioma cell lines, more so than either cannabinoid alone. The researchers tested the same combination in mice with high-grade glioma. They found that combining the 2 cannabinoids with irradiation reduced the mice's tumors. On day 21, the mice who received a THC and CBD combination along with radiation saw a significantly greater reduction in tumor size than either cannabinoid alone, and even greater reduction than the control group, in which only radiation was administered. Whoa. Dee Dee Mary's lab at Technion, Israel Institute of Technology, studies cancer biology and the therapeutic potential of naturally occurring metabolites from various species of cannabis and other plant sources. In particular, they have found certain combinations of cannabinoids may have cancer fighting properties in some leukemia cancers, estrogen receptor positive breast cancers, and immunogenic cancers, or cancers that can trigger an immune response. Their research indicates that rather than cannabis being any kind of a cure for cancer, different components of the plant can affect certain cancers, Mary tells the author. His lab is researching personalized medicine for cancer, saying compounds taken from different chemovar or strains might be more beneficial for one patient compared to another. So, like you're going to get a chemo cocktail, like you're not going to treat HER2 positive breast cancer the same as HER2 negative breast cancer, and colon cancer is going to get a different cocktail mixture of chemo than lung cancer. So they always are searching when you get diagnosed for where did this cancer begin, what's the source of it, and that's how they create a cocktail that effectively kills the cancer that stems from that main source. And this is literally saying that that might be the case. A mixture of THC and CBD, but not only that, a strain-specific mixture of THC and
That's
CBD
awesome. Yeah.
could be made for patients based kind of along the same lines as how chemo is done. That's huge.
Yeah.
So right now, they're currently trying to determine which molecules in various cannabis strains would be most beneficial for different patients. Recent cancer research and treatment development has focused on immunotherapy also, in which the patient's immune system is stimulated to fight their specific type of cancer. Mary says the work in his lab could complement such efforts. Yes, totally. This way, cannabis can help fight cancer not only by directly affecting cancer cells, but also by modifying the immune responses and the ecosystem of the tumor, he says. Combining conventional treatment with cannabis is sometimes beneficial and sometimes harmful, though, all depending on the type of cannabis on one hand and the type of cancer on the other. While more research is needed, Mary says there is definitely a high potential for co-treatment. It's worth underscoring that very little of this research has been done in clinical trials involving humans. Most studies are performed in vitro or on animals. There's a long road between our current understanding of cannabinoid therapy for cancer and approved treatments. How quickly or slowly we traverse that road depends on many factors like cannabis's legal status and funding.
Nice.
That's
great.
Big. Yep.
Yeah. Fuck cancer. International news: 4 Americans convicted in the UK for smuggling suitcases through Heathrow Airport back in January.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
Just, I don't understand.
People still do that?
Yeah. Try to anyway and get caught every time. Dutch coffee shops to stock licensed cannabis in trial. That's awesome because it's weird. They were able to sell cannabis and keep it in their stores, but you weren't able to buy it legally or grow it legally. So everything was coming from underground. Yeah, so actually now starting to have some licensed cultivation, which is great. Snoop Dogg, and on the international side of things, is partnering with the Atlas Global brands, and Snoop Dogg's eye on global domination took another step forward, allowing announcement that the entrepreneur and hip-hop legend signed an exclusive international licensing agreement with Canada-based global cannabis company Atlas Global Brands. They say consumers and people love Snoop, and our collective goal is to deliver premium products in all cannabis categories that will consistently exceed consumer expectations. And this is from the CEO of Atlas Global, and he said in the statement, Snoop said, "You all know that'll be amazing because they'll all be personally approved by me. The Cannabis Experience founder, Sarah Woodson, photo cushion cannabis rolls up and rolls out on the Cannabis Experience, token tourist and weed-loving locals alike can now enjoy the sights of what Snoop is bringing to the world." So he launched, I just saw him too, he launched Death Row Records vape, cannabis vapes too, with his logo on it. So yeah, so he's banging.
He's all over the place.
Yeah. Czech Republic journalist convicted of publishing Cannabis magazine. It's a magazine. He's not selling cannabis. He's trying to educate through his writing on cannabis and you arrest them just to talk about it. Be lucky in this country, you still have somewhat freedom of speech and freedom of the press, somewhat. I didn't realize that there was one Californian prisoner still in federal prison.
Yeah.
Still one person.
Nuts.
Yeah.
But thankfully, that last known Californian in prison for federal cannabis charges is released after 15 years, though. Medical marijuana has been legal in California for more than a quarter of a century. So there's a problem right there. He's been in jail for the past 15. It's been legal, again, legal, for a quarter century. That doesn't make sense.
Doesn't.
But the impact of the federal ban is still apparent all of these years later. One Bay Area man is finally free after serving 15 years in prison for opening a licensed medical cannabis shop. Oh. Luke Scarmazzo represents the end of an era. He is the last known Californian to be released from prison for a federal medical cannabis charge. It has been 20 days since he was released, and he's adjusting to his life back in Modesto, California. I'm making a chicken salad lunch, something I didn't get a lot of in prison, so I'm like super taking advantage of it, Scarmazzo told CBS News Bay Area. He crunches up Doritos to top his salad, a trick he picked up while serving nearly 15 years of a 22-year federal sentence.
You're going to try that now, are you?
I don't know about that. Well, a Dorito, that would be good. Cool Ranch Doritos and chicken salad.
Yeah, it'd be kind of delicious.
Mm-hmm. In 2004, Scarmazzo and his business partner opened the first licensed medical cannabis store in the Central Valley. It was an uncertainty. It was an unknown, Scarmazzo explained. It was something that hadn't been done before, so there were a lot of what-ifs. We knew we would get some pushback because the Central Valley tends to be more conservative, but we couldn't imagine what ended up happening. At first, he saw huge success in part due to local regulations that created a monopoly for his business. It quickly turned into a passion, helping people going through intense treatments ease their pain. Medicinal cannabis has been legal in California since 1996 and recreationally since 2018, but possession and distribution of cannabis, medicinal or not, remains illegal under federal law and carries a mandatory minimum sentence of 20 years, just what Scarmazzo received. He was following state law, but treated as a drug kingpin by the federal system. I thought, this can't be true. How did we do everything right and follow all the state laws and do everything we were supposed to do and be found guilty of a charge that puts us away for 20 plus years, Scarmazzo said. Over the next 15 years, he was transferred to several federal prisons across the country, an experience he describes as traumatic. But the worst part, he said, was being away from his daughter, who is now 20.
That sucks.
It didn't feel like we were wrongly convicted, but it felt like it was an injustice for the amount of time we received on a first-time drug offense, Scarmazzo recalled. It had to be somebody, and it might as well have been me. Scarmazzo was considered for clemency under President Trump, but was ultimately passed over just before President Biden's inauguration. Although Biden made a campaign promise to decriminalize cannabis, Scarmazzo said it's not enough. He's calling for it to be legalized federally. It's very important to make sure I get everyone incarcerated for cannabis out of prison, Scarmazzo said. I don't want any more sons or daughters to lose a parent or son or daughter to a nonviolent cannabis offense. It's not right. It's an injustice that continues to happen today. Upon his release, the judge in Scarmazzo's case wrote a 29-page opinion that could set a significant precedent for cannabis offenders moving forward. The judge concluded that the charges in the legal landscape around cannabis constitute extraordinary and compelling circumstances, warranting a reduction in sentence to term served, which sets a new precedence for these kind of cases, he said. It's been a privilege to work on Luke Scarmazzo's behalf for the past few years, attorney Carrie Dent of firm King and Spalding said in the statement to Marijuana Movement. I have no doubt that Luke will use his freedom as an opportunity not only to work with groups like Weldon Project, but to promote social change and also mentor young people in his community to ensure that they make good decisions about their talents in positive ways And I believe that Judge Drozd made the world a better place by granting Luke's motion for compassionate release.
It's awesome.
I agree.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Ric Flair, woo, WWE legend, to be the face of. I don't know if I would be going around about this, but be the face of cannabis for erectile dysfunction.
Oh, jeez.
After joining forces with Mike Tyson's Weed Empire. Now WWE Ric Flair says he'll be the face of cannabis products tackling the problem with Mike Tyson's cannabis company. It's thought around 52% of men who have ED at some time, often with distressing effects, made worse if they feel unable to seek help for that, sadly, can still be seen as a taboo subject. So perhaps who better than two larger-than-life sporting legends to help bring the issue to open? Ric Flair, and who has fought for 50 years and insisted he might lock horns in the ring yet again sometime. Oh, gosh. Stop. I love Ric Flair. He's the greatest wrestler of all time, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, but 74 and still trying to wrestle. Just be a manager then if you want to still stay around the ring. Explaining his love for cannabis, he added, my line drops here in Florida, where you still have to have your medical card to get it. As far as going on lecturing and talking about it, no, I'm not that knowledgeable. There's a lot to learn about cannabis. They're going to have cannabis for erectile dysfunction, and guess who will be the face of it? Woo! Me, Ric Flair. Flair could be referring to cannabidiol, one of the 85 chemical compounds in cannabis, but not one of those that gets you high. See, he's very unknowledgeable of it. CBD could potentially improve mood and sleep, he says, and he's learning more. The Tyson 2.0 cannabis company gained a majority stake in Ric Flair's Drip in March 2022. Flair said at the time he had become a true cannabis advocate and enthusiast. Might help him with his ED problem. That's why he's so enthused about it. Way to go, Ric Flair. Legend in the wrestling world, and everybody loves your lines. Woo, Ric Flair. Legend, the GOAT. I have to say, Mrs. Weedman, for having your eyes dilated the size of a friggin' dime each eye, you did pretty damn well.
I did all right.
Yeah, you did great. Only one little blip of reading, and your eyes are still dilated, like almost
everything's twinkly.
Is it? You did awesome though.
I did all right.
And also, being high probably made you see straight.
I think it helped. I focused really well.
I mean, I'm looking at your eyes right now. Your pupils are.
I don't have any.
No.
Yeah, it's all pupil.
I very little see the blue around your eye. But damn good job reading like that. Got anything else to say?
We're getting snow tomorrow, and is it spring already?
Not yet.
Oh, we're getting snow tomorrow.
Snow?
It's gonna be rain. It's Chicago, so it'll be snow, and by the end of the day, it'll be gone.
It was a beautiful day today, though.
It was. The
40,
sun was shining.
45, and sunny.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
So can't ask for anything better. So.
Yeah. But I do have something to say. It's International Women's Day.
It is.
So all of you women out there just being troopers and doing shit and getting shit done and just conquering and fighting for equality in all aspects of life, keep pushing through. We're making changes, really. We really are.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You're making a lot of changes in the cannabis industry.
Yep.
You know?
Across the board.
Yeah. I see a lot of women-owned cannabis businesses. And not even just selling the plant. I'm talking about other
ancillary
stuff.
businesses.
Yes, ancillary business outside of just selling cannabis. You're doing a lot of stuff around it. Podcasts, tons of women with podcasts, cannabis podcasts, journalists, advocates, health, marketing, amazing.
Graphic design.
Yeah, so amazing. What I see out there and read and get to meet and talk to all the time. So keep on going. So what do you always say? Girls rule, boys drool.
Yeah, but that's kind of a. It's not fun to knock somebody down to make yourself feel better.
No,
but yes,
no.
we used to
Girl
fist bump
power
at bedtime with our daughter. Girls rule, and boys drool.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody out there in the world, show some love, show some kindness, show some peace, shake hands, kiss babies, and give a bunch of hugs, will you? Love everybody out there. As Paulie always says, smoke smart, puff puffing away.
Puff, puff, pass.